Alright, what's up everyone? This is CyberKnight. I'm here with AznEyes, and we are going to talk about our favorite Yu-Gi-Oh decks from back in the day. We have our all-time favorite that we're talking about, and we're going to go over different cards, and even in part 1, which if you guys haven't checked out that video, be sure to check it out. It's on his channel. I'll have it where it's pinned down in the description and comments and everything. You should be able to see it on something on there, of course, all different ways you can post it. And basically we went over a lot of different things, talking about how our decks would do probably nowadays, and how unfortunately the game's a little different for both of us. I'm more XC era for the deck I chose. He went with more Synchro era. And we've had a few different kinds of summoning, you know, that's kind of changed. So what was one of your favorite things about the deck that you used back then?
So the deck that I really enjoyed the most was back in the Plant Synchro era. And I felt like resources mattered in Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot of the times, whereas this day and age, like, you know, you ask for your opponent with their cards on hands, sometimes there are one card new FTKs, OTKs, or 2-card combos. Salmon Great has a lot of 2-card combos that will just completely be able to make a re-established board. Even right now, the brand new Super Heavy Samurai, there is a 1-card FTK. I feel like the golden era of Yu-Gi-Oh! Was when there was a little bit of mystery to what your opponent was playing. A lot of decks back in the day, they would set cards. I feel like setting cards is almost irrelevant in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's one mechanic that completely got changed up. And I almost feel like traps, for the most part, also got changed up in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like nowadays, we very rarely see any deck playing traps other than like maybe Imperm or Evenly, but those don't even behave like a surprise mechanic. They're just like activated immediately. Everything is just so much faster in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! It's got to be hand traps, otherwise it's too slow. You get OTK'd. And I like the pace of the deck. Like, you had your passive plays where you would sit there and you would wait. But for the most part, I feel like Kwakimirus, I mean, you'd have the ability to maybe tribute. I don't know. Did you play like Kwakimiru Wall? There's Wall Guardian, and there's one that stopped traps too. They basically had like all 3 covered, which was pretty cool because it was like more fair. It's like, okay, I'm stopping your card, but I also lose my card. Nowadays we have like one Yu-Gi-Oh card where like this one card will stop your card 3 different times, and it's just like it feels very painful and frustrating. Where did you feel like when you played your best and favorite Yu-Gi-Oh deck of the time, did you ever feel like it was like super unfair, like, oh, I made this, I'm winning no matter what, or was it kind of like more of a back and forth?
Well, yeah, it's kind of like how you bring up, like, first off, I think about it, like, I don't think there were any hand traps that I used in this era. I mean, I guess we had Effect Veiler, really, for me. Yours is a little bit older, so there really wasn't as much for you, but like I said, mine's more Zexal era, so we definitely didn't have Ash Blossom and a lot of these different things. Even on my build too, I don't think I even had too many trap cards, you know, on it either. I think it was mainly, like I said, basically in part 1, it was more about going for that XC summon, and that's how you would do it. But there wasn't necessarily an XC monster I felt like that's my ultimate boss monster, and I'm gonna OTK you. It was more like, I'm setting up my field, and it was probably more back and forth, because on my build, like on this Beast Warrior build, it wasn't so much like the Rock Stud, so I didn't run Guardian, Sandman, I think, and Wall, I think were the 3. And I know there was another one too. I want to say, I don't know. I can't remember his name, the effect one too. But on mine, we had Tornado, which was the one that you could summon basically and get rid of special summon monsters, which was kind of your, just in case things didn't go well, that was kind of your nuke, I guess, and your way of doing something. But again, it was a summon, so it was pretty slow. It was like using Fossil Dino.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Fossil Dino is fantastic. I still think that card can still see some play. Like, special summoning in general is just the most powerful thing in Yu-Gi-Oh! But I think
everything's special summoned. I mean, you think of all the different stuff we have, everything's special summoned.
Yeah, pretty much. And what I think is most interesting is looking at the OG trap lineup. Like, I've got my deck over here. Here's some of the traps that I played, and like, it was actually, a lot of these were just very meta. Like, Call of the Haunted was at 1, and people did play Call of the Haunted. You had Call of the Haunted, Mirror Force, Solemn was at 1. You had 2 Solemn Warnings, Torrential Tribute, and that was kind of the core lineup. Occasionally you would see people also play Limit Reverse. That was another like popular card at the time, just bring back something. Even in like competitive play, people were playing that. What were some of the trap cards that you had in your deck?
For my deck, it wasn't like as many, like I said, I felt like I more relied on the monster effect kind of aspect of it. But I remember I had Compulse, which is just a card I always enjoy. You know, that's just one of my favorites, just return to the hand, or extra deck, of course, if it's a extra deck monster. So that one I always found funny. I used let's see, Breakthrough Skill was pretty popular around that era. That was closer to I guess a hand trap, basically, for that deck, you know, sort of. Because it's kind of like an Effect Veiler. Also Reckon Power, which is something that probably wouldn't be played at all nowadays. It was more like... I'm trying to think the equivalent, where it was basically, I believe you got rid of the Iron Core, and then you destroyed a monster, or maybe it was a card. It was one or the other, and it was kind of like, you had to actually get rid of something. Like, I feel like on a lot of these days, like you're saying too, it's just kind of like, activate this, and I just keep you from doing something.
Yeah.
And you don't really give anything up. You're not really having, like, a cost. This one you actually did, because you've got rid of the core. It could kind of mess you up if you didn't have any other, like, Beast Warriors. You can't reveal for your hand. That was the Quackimura thing. You can't reveal, then they're gonna blow themselves up. So that would mess you up big time. So that was another one too. And I think even Traphold Nightmare was one of the cards they used, which was relatively new and popular too for that era. So that Breakthrough Skill, I remember, were really big at that point.
It was the Trap Tricks Traphold Nightmare, that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that one did see some playing competitive as well. Since we're talking about OG, what were some of the spell cards that you played in your deck?
Mine were the usual lineup, really. I mean, I remember the big popular card, I guess, was actually Duality, because this deck, you could special summon, obviously, with Xyz summoning, but I felt like the way you played it, you didn't special summon too much, and Duality was kind of like that card that helped you add consistency with every deck, so like every deck ran it, no matter. And then, of course, too, I had like the Fire Formation cards, like Tenki, and I forget the other one, too. I think it was like... Tensu? Yeah, Tensu. Yeah, there you go.
Additional summon.
Yeah, so basically with those, you would pretty much get whatever you needed to. Another one that would add consistency, because you would have the summon, and then, of course, Tenki being the one that would power up and help you get the Beast Warrior. What were the spell cards for you? So
Duality as well. Like there was an era of like, remember Duality was like $100 card. These were this is OG like expensive Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And then Avarice wasn't really expensive, but like you played Avarice. Avarice is still a pretty good card for certain decks. 1-for-1, Monster Reborn, Foolish Burial, and then Darkhold. That was the spell lineup for a while. Like that was the core. Like everyone played pretty much Reborn, Darkhold. Duality was kind of like, some people played it, some people didn't, but I think it was a really good card. I think Duality was relatively fair when your opponent activated. It was usually like nowadays if someone activates Duality, it's like, oh, I'm good, I'm totally fine, unless they're playing against something that's gonna like do some sort of burn or stall. For the most part, like once people see Duality or once there's no special summoning, people are usually like pretty okay. But I remember Ancient Fairy Dragon had a lot of FTKs like back when it was legal. I think it's still banned.
Well, I guess on the OCG list, I don't know if you saw, it actually got unbanned as we're talking about this, but they errated it. So I forget what the errata
is. It like
did. I'd have to look that up. I don't remember off the top of my head. People can tell us in the comments. I'm sure.
Tell us in the comments. What's the new errata for it?
Yeah, because I try to keep up with everything, but it's been a little crazy. It's around Christmas time, so. But yeah, that one seems so funny. It's so funny too whenever you do see some of those errata cards. Like going back to that, I think of Chaos Emperor Dragon, where it's just like, oh, they neutered him. Like he used to be the god. He was a god, you know. And then it's like, ooh, that's
well, the thing is
good on that.
That's so wild with erratas is like we go to like OG cards like Crush Card Virus, which was a YCS prize card, and the new effect is your opponent gets to select if they send 3 cards. Some people won't understand how powerful certain cards were back in the day. I've never been a fan of erratas, but some people like them because it allows for cards that don't see play to finally see play because, you know, they're more in line with like balance. How do you feel about erratas? Do you like them so cards can see play, or?
That's a tough one. It could almost be its own video, honestly.
Yeah, you know what? Okay, you know what?
Let us know down in the comments.
Yeah.
We can talk about that at some point. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Let us know down in those comments. Basically, some older Yu-Gi-Oh players, I guess, enjoying the nostalgic days, or I don't know, the good old days, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching. Be sure to check out AznEyes as well. An awesome creator. He's one that has made videos for a long time too, like me, and has a variety of different content and all that too. So I think you guys will really enjoy him. And again, let us know know if you want to see, you know, more videos with us together, because I'm enjoying just kind of talking about the old days and old formats. And there's, as long as we play too, we have plenty of other decks too that we really enjoy. So thanks for watching. Thank you for being part of this video too, AznEyes. And yeah, we will catch you guys later.
All right. See you later, YouTube.
See ya.